So this is a short one, specifically um, in response to someone who just asked me a question on how to relate with their child. They just came through and they said they're having a really hard time with their kid. So they said, how do I deal with my child? So that is the issue. So I said, okay, I know it's late, um, but I'm going to come in really quickly and address that. Not so much for the people who will be watching the live now, but because I can download this video and post it on one of my shows, like tomorrow. Now, you know that we have so many adults who cannot already handle their emotions. We already know that there are so many adults who cannot communicate. Well, unajua already, right now, there's so many adults who cannot even hold a conversation. They don't even know how to communicate. There's so many adults right now, all they can do is show their anger. They cannot even hide their anger. Like, you cut them in traffic, whatever happens, wherever you meet them, you already know that we have those so many adults already who can do that. There's so many adults who cannot even cope with frustrations. You see them on Twitter every day. Okay? So if you're an adult and you cannot cope with frustration, if you're an adult and you cannot even communicate, if you're an adult, you cannot even express, okay, your anger, what makes you think that your child, who is probably 5, 6, 7, 8, what makes you think that your child can attain that? Remember, you are the adult, you are the grown-up, and you can no longer, or you are not even able to handle your emotions. You're already emotionally immature. Okay? Emotionally, you are immature. Yet you are the person who's supposed to be an adult. So how do you expect your child to behave? You see, we do a lot of reparenting on our channel, whereby we are trying to reparent based on how we grew up lacking from our parents, not knowing better. The same with our great grandparents, all the way to the days of slavery and the days of Mau Mau, and all these other histories that keep repeating themselves, what you call generation curses and traumas. So now, when you are the adult and you cannot even handle your emotions, now you have your child, like this person who has come to my DM asking me, how do I deal with my child? Okay, how do I make my child understand stuff? And I asked them, I said, so you're an adult, yes. Do you lose your temper? Yeah. Are there some times when you cannot even have a conversation? Yes. So what are you telling me? How can you even make this make sense when you come to my DM and then you are telling me that you don't even know how to deal with your 7 years old? Okay? Already, you are an adult who's not regulated. You have not done any shadow work. You are not even doing any shadow work. You're already a grown man or woman who cannot regulate their own emotions, but you expect your 5 years old to do that. You see, a lot of adults, when you look at your children's tantrums, unasikianga, oh no, my child akona tantrums. Oh no, my child is having one of those days. Okay? You know, my child is having a moment. Okay? But you're supposed to look at your child's tears and tantrums as a reflection of you. Most of you as parents, you look at that like it's disrespectful. Okay? You're looking at your child like they're supposed to be a robot. You're looking at that like they're insulting you. Okay? You're looking at your child's tears like they should be dismissed. Panguza hiyo machozi. Eh? Nani alikwambia utakuwa ukilia kwa hii nyumba? Panguza machozi haraka sana. Then you come to my live or you come to my DM and then you tell me how you've been crying. Jega mudhaka, you know I've been crying through the night. I'm going through so much. But when your child is crying in front of you, that is an issue. So you're looking at your child like they are having a moment. But remember, when your child is reacting like this, they are looking at you as the adult who's supposed to have a solution. So the child is crying to see your reaction. How are you going to soothe them? Na vitu kama hizo. So instead of shaming your children, instead of punishing your children, repeating the same generational causes and trauma that you have, you should be learning to help your child through your big emotions. If you come to me with your consultations crying and you're a grown up, so why don't you show your children grace? Okay? Because at the end of your interaction with a child is supposed to be feeling safe. A child is supposed to be feeling that they are deeply connected to you. But it looks like most of you are very dysregulated. You know, sometimes I do social experiments. I'll go to a mall, I'll sit down, I'll order a meal, and I do what you call a social experiment. On a weekend, I'll observe the parents with their children. I'll see how they are shouting at their children. I'll observe how they are on their phones, ignoring their children. Okay? I understand it's not the parents' fault. I understand the parents are dysregulated. I understand the parents are no better. They are broken already. They're already regretting having these children based on how much they are paying for their school fees and everything. So these are chronically, emotionally immature parents taking their children to the mall. So they look at their children like burdens. They look at their children like they are emotional burdens. So what they do is that they are punishing these children. I've seen people punishing their children in public, and sometimes they even get caught in between. Okay, so they use that chance to punish the child as an attempt to make sure that that child gets back in order. Okay, and how do they do that? By getting that child out of that emotion. So whatever emotion the child was going through, they are beaten or shamed, okay, or shut down so that they can get out of that emotion. Okay, and this will always work, you know, temporarily, because you know when there's pain, a child will shut up. Tumia kanwa kau, nyamaza ama nikutoe hiyo mdomo. So this only works, but temporarily. Why? Because at that particular moment, the child is filled with fear. Unajua ukichapa mtoto hiyo ni uoga. But after that, what happens is that that child loses their trust in you. You lose the connection that you had for that child. And this is what happened with you. Most of you, this is what happened when you're growing up. You lost your connections with your parents. Okay? And now that we are here, reparenting, we need to start, or we need to change the whole mentality or outlook on how we are bringing up these children. We have to, like Michael Jackson said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. We have to go to the mirror. First of all, we have to do our own self-regulations. We have to heal. Okay? Then we can do the same to the children, because we cannot develop patience for the children that we are bringing up if we are not learning to cope with ourselves first. You need to cope with your own confusion first. You need to cope with the rejection that you are facing in life. You need to cope with the rejection, the fact that now you're a single lady. Cope with the rejection that now you're a man who has been left by your wife. Our parents are not even together. They don't even know how to cope with that. You don't even know how to cope with the daily disappointments of life. But now you have a child, and now you are punishing your children. Okay? And this only happens with African parents. And then I see people saying, mtoto umleavyo sijui, spare the rod. No, this is the result. So if you have to understand that the Bible, the people who wrote the Bible for you, the law, the people, I have the Bible here. I have how many Bibles do I have? I can count how many Bibles from where I'm seated now. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 4. And I have others in other places. So the Bible is written in such a way that we have what you call the poor man's gospel and the rich man's gospel. And the poor man's gospel has been spread to the coconut head, the Africans. That is why they talk of spare the rod and spoil the child. And the rich man's gospel is spread to the people who brought you the gospel, where it talks about... Puss, come Silo, what are you looking at? Puss. Come. What are you looking at? You know, my cat sometimes can spot things that I can't see. He's looking at some that I can't see. Anyway, fuck that. So, let's not even talk about the Bible. So, heal, reparent self, okay? Uh, it's gonna be okay now, okay? It's gonna be okay for you. Let me see if there's any question. So there's no question. So yeah, do have a beautiful evening. Venye tunasemanga, each one teach one. If issues, I've looked at the video. To be really honest, haikutokea in any way, shape or form. So thank you for the effort, but haikuingiana hata kidogo. The story haikupelekana. We'll do another project. Ni sasa, but that one didn't work. So do have a beautiful evening. It's late for me. I usually don't like. I won't be. I'm not usually not up at this hour. We'll catch up tomorrow. My fellow Arabs. Fellow Arabs.